Yo, what's good, fam? Welcome to PNP, and as you can see, I'm smiling ear to ear. Yes, we were able to land an interview with Steve Smith Sr. Now, before we get into the interview, I need y'all to do two things. I need y'all to go over to Cut to It podcast, which is hosted by Steve Smith Sr. There is zero reason why my podcast, Little Old Panther Nation Podcast, has more subscribers than Cut to It. You need to go over to Cut to It, hit the subscribe button right now. Okay, take a couple of seconds, hit that subscribe button, and take nothing but 2 seconds to go over there, go in the search bar, hit Cut to It, hit the subscribe button over at Cut to It. Okay, show your appreciation for Steve Smith coming on our channel by subscribing to his channel. Okay, second, I need you to then go over to UnderdogFantasy.com. If you have yet to sign up, go over to UnderdogFantasy.com, sign up using the code PNP. Now, roll my intro.
Panther Nation Podcast. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. Oh, cut it. Cut right. And I would like to introduce one of the hottest podcasts in Carolina history. Let's go. Yeah. Talk, let's chat. We got time to chop it up. Talking analytics and fantasy draft. You know what's up. Panther Nation representing, cause this is where we talk that. Talk that's so incredible, make them rewind that talk back. Pause. Talking Panthers football, we discussing it all. On and off the field, you know exactly who to call. You know we the #1 podcast. Competition is non-existent, you need to stop that. Pause. It's an honor to be a Panther fan. Pause. At Bank of America, that is where we ball. Coming to the jungle, then you gonna feel the pause. Winning the trophy for the city, it is the call. Black, white, and blue, we going Carolina strong. And this is the conversation where everyone belongs. Discussing all the numbers and topics, you know we got it. We the hottest podcast and we poppin', let's go.
Quick, ladies and gentlemen, it needs no introduction, but I gotta do it. So, host of the Cut to It podcast, analyst for NFL Network, he is the Panther all-time leader in career receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, total touchdowns, scrimmage yards, all-purpose yards, and 100-yard receiving game. NFL Comeback Player of the Year in 2005, along with that Triple Crown winner, 3-time All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler, Panthers Hall of Honor inductee, and soon to be Hall of Famer. In my mind, the greatest Panther of all time, Agent 89, Mr. Ice Up Son himself, Steve Smith Sr. Welcome to the show, man.
What's up, man? I'm second best, bro. Sam Mills.
Listen. I got that. Yeah.
I'm rolling.
We appreciate that. And listen, in my mind, for real, like. It's so much. I'm humble, man, for real, because it's crazy. We started this podcast 5 years ago, and and so we've exploded on YouTube, and we just
congratulations.
Appreciate that. And at the end of the day, we just two fans with two mics, and we kind of just voice our opinions, and we never thought we would come to this day where we would have a legend like yourself on the show, man.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Hey man, I appreciate you guys reaching out to my guys at Underdog, man. I'm working with a great company with Underdog. They give me a great opportunity to expand, to use long form conversation about NFL, about football. But I'm also, if you notice, I'm being intentional with trying to make sure every week that I'm talking about the Carolina Panthers. And also giving a perspective that I think some people aren't expecting. I think people are expecting, I think a lot of people watch me play and they expect me to be a loudmouth, condescending, egotistical, self-absorbed. When I did this is what I did. And, almost talking away like I invented football. To some degree, every entertainer, I believe, is self-absorbed, because if very few guys and girls who make it, very few of them have been told by a lot of the stories. Very few of them been told that you can do it, you will be successful. And so, my story, my background is no different than anybody else. Is it the worst? No. Is it the best? And no. But the things that I experienced are real. They had an impact on me, positive and negatively. They made me have a certain perspective, and it was tough, and becoming 43 years old, trying to figure things out and trying to do things the right way. Represent my family in a way that doesn't make them cringe, but also be my true, authentic self. And like anything else, being a husband, being a father, man, you're just trying to you're trying to get it right every day, and trying to figure it out. And in this digital world of people's opinion, they're going to let you know if you're a yard off or a second or a second, too early, too late. And don't say a word that doesn't make sense or stutter. Oh, goodness gracious. If you stutter, you're in trouble.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So before we get into like the meat and potatoes of the interview, what I like to do, because we've had a couple of legends on the show. We've had, Stephen Davis, had Deshaun
radio.
Foster. Yeah. We've had Mike.
So you got Deshaun Foster. You got Smoke. Yeah. You had Smoke on there. Yeah. Mike Manor. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we've had Steve Berline as well.
We got to try to sneak him in. Next week because A&T plays Campbell next week. So we got to try to sneak him in. Yeah. We're both Aggies. Went to North Carolina A&T.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, congratulations.
How we like to set this up is we don't like to get straight into it. We like to ask how you were doing as a man. Like you've been very open about, battling depression in the past and mental health and all that stuff. And so how is Steve Smith the man doing, mentally and physically?
Man, that's a great question. Physically I'm doing good, right? Mentally, let's be honest, right? He's day of the week, man. We were sitting in a house for 18 months, 2 years, and we started to adapt to the world of the pandemic, adapt to the world of masks and all that stuff. And then this last year, everything it's not back to normal, but it's the new normal. And the new normal is back to being in front of people, facing people face to face, but still doing some of the digital stuff like this podcast, being able to do a Zoom call. But we're doing the Zoom call I'm doing the Zoom call on a travel day for a game, on site. And it just makes things, it makes us be able to stretch and do multiple things, but we're still doing multiple things as we go back to traveling. And I think that the reason I say mentally I'm okay is, adjusting back to the expectation of performing, right? To being on your P's and Q's for your job. And in the pandemic, I think the pandemic allowed us to see that we can for me, the pandemic started to make me look at where do I want to go in my life? And man, real talk, man, I got as a great philosopher, one of the movies that I grew up watching, because I used to work at a summer camp, and I was a camp counselor when we went to the movies and saw it in LA, which is a Lion King, and man, I'm Pumbaa and Timon, man. I'm a Hakuna Matata. I ain't got no legitimate worries, right? And that's not a flex. Man, that's a calmness, right? That's something that's something that I've been praying for a lot, is to some calmness, to have some clarity, some good things in my life that I can actually enjoy, not just bump my gums and say, because you look at people always saying about athletes, man, look all the money they make. They ain't got no problems. And I don't think that's necessarily true. I think, especially in the South, I think that there's some great folks, but there's also some folks that at times, man, if you don't give them what they want, or they can't get out of you what they need, man, they discard you like a mildew dish rag, right? So for me, man, I'm really enjoying life, and the reason I say I'm enjoying it is you could tell the content of my stuff. Like I'm really having fun. It's probably been the happiest 7 months of my life.
That's beautiful.
That's awesome. That's
Right?
awesome.
Like when I say happy, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about like um, my wife smiles sometimes when she sees me, right? She made, the other day I woke up, she made me breakfast, right? Um, it's just been cool, man. It's been dope. My kids are making fun of me, and they feel like that they can make fun of dad because that wasn't always the case. So man, life is really good, and um, sometimes they say be very weary and be careful what you wish for. And man, I've been constantly in prayer. I want to live a life of peace, man,
Yeah.
and I'm not there yet, but man, it's like it sure tastes like an ice cream sundae on a hot summer day, boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's on my palate.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I can tell you having fun, man. You got the NFL's most interesting jobs. That's funny. So I got a question to follow up on that. When is the 89 sauce going to be available in stores? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's man, you can't sell something you already stole from other people.
Got you. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I learned about the barbelo sauce. Remember a restaurant in Charlotte used to be, I think it's still up at the lake, Midtown Sundries.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with
Yeah,
Midtown.
it used to be a restaurant that had it, man. That's why I fell in love with it. We used to get them back in the day at when I played at downtown. We used to order on what was that? Thursdays? Yeah, Thursdays after weigh-in. We used to, every couple of weeks we'll order a different place. We used to every Thursday get Fat Burrito or Price's Chicken Coop,
Yeah.
Max, all these different places. And so I used to have a lake house, and I used to be I had a boat. I used to go up to the lake a lot when we first moved to Charlotte. And man, they had a Midtown Sundries, man. I love them.
Nice.
And so that's where I got it from. And I love to cook. My wife is an excellent cook, but I try to keep up with her to give her some days off. And I also learned how to cook when I was a young kid from my grandmother. And so, man, cooking for me and food, I really enjoy it. And so it's just one of those dope combinations. I just love food. I love cooking. The way I was introduced to it was so unique. So, I just am intrigued with food and how it works in restaurants and all that stuff. So I'm if you see me around town, man, I'll slip up in Optimus Hall, and grab me something in there and then slip out real quick. Always.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right, Dave. So we'll jump into some of the stuff, the meat and potatoes of this. Go ahead, Dave.
So for me, right, you're one of the rare players in Panthers history to get to play for 3 coaches in Carolina Panthers history. We've only had 7 total if you count the interim. So the question I have for you is, who was your favorite coach to play for? And to follow that up, your rookie year, first time you touched the ball, you scored a touchdown. So how was it that season? Plus, who was your favorite coach to play for in Carolina?
Man, if you had asked me that 5 years ago, I would, and a lot of times people ask me questions, and I try not to answer, or I ask them, what they're, what are you looking for? Because there are times our fan base sometimes is very offended at times when you don't pick the player or coach that they think you should pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so every single coach, man, I've learned something from, right? Coach Fox, when I was with Coach Fox, I got on his nerves because I was young and immature and growing up right before his eyes, but I also was a guy coming into his own as well. So he had to manage me, and I still was I was rebellious and trying to do my thing. Seifert was only 1 year, but that really, he was so straight up and almost like, look, we're going to fire you if you can't play. And so, and then Coach Rivera, Coach Rivera, he was a good coach as well. He's a player's coach. He's gonna, 6 o'clock in the morning, like your backdrop, Dave. He's gonna be sitting in one of those chairs waiting for one of those. He'll be sitting there with his cup of coffee, waiting for the players to come in. I think he wanted to see how committed and how early guys would come in, but then he'll also be in there just talking, chomping it up with guys, like what it was like with him in 85 Bears, what it's like as a husband, as a father, like all of these different things. So each one of those coaches, and I'm not answering which one was my favorite, because each one of those coaches had something and contributed something to my professional career that I can't choose one out of the three, because they all impacted me, good and bad, that I'll be doing a disservice because they invested in me.
Good answer.
That's fair.
That's really good answer.
So now I just got a question. So like I said, you first time you touched the ball against the Minnesota Vikings in 2001, you took it to the house.
Yeah.
What was your reaction after you took it to the house, and what was Coach Seifert's reaction after you took it to the house? They ended up being the only win, so that was big for that season. That was a big factor in that win.
That was a huge factor. I think one of the things, because I was I was so hungry to play wide receiver, I took that instance like, look, I could play in this league, man. And so it was one of those things. It was, you know what they say, man, you can't give certain folks no type of money. They don't know how to act.
Right.
Right. And so when I had that success, it was like, look, I need to play. I want to play. I want to play wide receiver. Looking back then at my response and how I conducted myself, it was like, yo, this is me. This is what I was expecting to do anyway. So I don't know why y'all shocked. You can go look at my college highlight tape. I balled at doing that. But one of the things that people don't know, and I say it on here, is, man, my dad was a semi-pro punter and fullback.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I knew how to catch punts by the time I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
And so, because I was just following my pop, I wanted to be like my dad. So he used to go down to Willowbrook Park, and that was called Magic Johnson, right there on 126 in Avalon. And it's on Avalon El Segundo. And man, my dad used to go there and punt. And so I used to, be the tag along. And I started trying to catch the punts from him. And by trying to catch those punts, then it became, you know how dads can be. Hey, man, if you're going to go out there, do it right. And I'm like, and he's like, catch the ball. And so, by the time I was 12 years old, bro, I was catching punts clean. And so the reason I was able to be a returner and why I was so skilled is because I had been catching since I was a young kid. I was catching punts. If they had a punter in Pop Warner or, flag, whatever we played in, man, I was catching it. Mm-hmm. So by the time I was high school, I was the only kid that can consistently catch punts. And then when I got to Utah and then in the league, they started to teach me how to read the punts. And so refining my game, adding to and sharpening my tools in my toolbox, that's when things started to get dangerous. That's when I started to have that swag like, nah, and so it was, I had false self-confidence out loud, but man, I was a very insecure kid because of my height, because of the way I grew up, as far as my mom being a survivor of domestic violence who was not my dad. We received a lot of things. I saw a lot of things when I was young that really made me become very guarded at a young age. And so the player you saw on the football field, that was kind of like all the things that I dealt with, that I just kind of unleashed and was able to just say, whatever on a football field. And so that's one of the things that a lot of people, I think people figured out and saw, and was, some people write articles or say things like, yeah, you could tell he was very emotionally wounded. But man, I really learned. I had a guy tell me one time, because I do and did counseling to help deal with a lot of the childhood trauma and experiences that I had. And one day he told me that, man, the kid in the hood. I was like, yeah, but he said, man, when you're that kid in the hood, and he was like, man, when you're that kid in the hood, he said, your flip up go to the side, your language starts to change, your demeanor. And I was like, okay. And I just listened to him, and then I took a couple of weeks, and then we had our next session, and I addressed what he said. And this was a dude that he's a white dude from Oklahoma, and we've had some great racial conversations. He's asked me some questions, and then I asked him. I said, "When you associate a kid in the hood, is that a great attribute? Are those things that you're saying put on your resume?" Right. Or are you saying things that disqualify me, or saying things that show your wife clenches her purse when she sees me, the kid in the hood? And he said, and I said, so you have to, be careful the way you're expressing that, because I'm asking you now, when you're referring to me as that kid in the hood, is that good news or bad news for me? Is that a badge of honor? And so he stopped. And then I said, but you got to also understand the way I grew up and how I grew up. I also now see that the kid in the hood who dealt with, having a stuttering problem, being a latchkey kid, having family members OD, drug addiction, domestic violence survivors, had a little homelessness, a little bit, fleeing, running from the abuser, riding a bus, didn't have a driver's license till I was 21 years old, 22 years old, was on, public transportation most of my life, Section 8, food stamps, government housing. My mom made, at one point, the most she made is $13,000 a year, right? Raising 2 kids. And I said, all those things, that kid in the hood, I also realized that made me become Ford tough. Mm-hmm. That allowed me to be able to maintain and handle. And the Lord was building me up, that he said, when I become older, that what I experienced at a young age, that young men shouldn't experience, that I can get through anything.
Yeah,
and me saying all that is, man, I'm a flawed man, but I'm also, I wouldn't want to do over what I experienced, because I do believe that there's some men and women, some children that are living it today in this great country that shouldn't experience what I experienced. And some of them got it worse. A lot of them got it worse. And so I just, man, that does something to you.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because it's not too many people that played the game the way you played the game, with the intensity in it. When you tell that story, and I listen to a lot of your interviews, you always harken back to your background. So my question is, what is your thought on the way the game is played now? And do you think the money, like the amount of money these players are getting now, it seems as if it's changed the game and guys aren't playing with that passion anymore?
Yeah, I for a guy that sits here and reads some of the comments, and I have to, because it's part of the business now. Man, I'm not gonna sit there and say I'm not qualified to check a man's heart. Gotcha. And so it ain't my business. But I can tell you this: if a lot of players played like me, then hell, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, very good point.
If we all the same, what make me any unique?
That's true. Good point.
I'm just an entry-level employee like the rest of them, because they all the same. So it is not Are there some players the money has changed them? Probably, but it isn't for me to say. I don't know why that man don't want to go across the middle, but guess what? They held me for 16 years, right? So I'm not gonna be mad. He don't want to go across the middle and get bopped, but I take that paycheck, right? Because it's changed everything in my life. The fact that I could catch a football, the fact that I got paid a king's ransom to wear tight pants and a mouthpiece and a helmet, and I got paid millions of dollars. Hey, man, there's somebody that's going to listen to this podcast, or there's people on Twitter that say a lot of things about us that, man, these boys don't know nothing about adversity. You don't know that. You're just looking at their paycheck. You're looking at the some, unlike me, I wasn't a finished product, but you're looking at the finished product. So I'm not gonna say that I think these dudes are soft. I think the game is changing and evolving for various reasons that are important. Gotcha. When we look at the totality of football and the impact it's had on guys mentally, physically. Yeah. I can say this right now, man. The NFL and playing in the NFL, playing in any professional sport, bro, y'all ready? Listen, it's the most addictive legal drug that's out there in the world today. Man, people, they want that smack every day of the week. They got it on Sunday night. We got it on Monday night. We got it now on Thursday night. We got it on Black Friday now.
That's true.
Man,
yep.
I saw that, man.
They want that football smack all the time.
All I know is this, bro. If I see these prime deals come through my ticker, I'm losing it. I'm just going to lose it. I don't want to.
No, you're not. You're going to order. Stop.
You're going to buy something.
That's a cap. That's a cap. You know what you're going to buy? I'm going to tell you right now because they listening. Your prime order going to be better backdrop.
Yeah, that is cap. That is cap. He's definitely gonna buy something for sure.
Yeah, we all do it.
I know. Man. Them prime sales are a problem, man. Them prime sales are a problem.
Them prime sales. I was on it too. I was like, hey, let me see what I drank or eat on here. It's just prime sale, man. Because but man, I love the question, but also I am trying more now, more than ever. If I disagree with how guys playing, I'm gonna try to say it in a productive manner, but I'm not gonna try to dump on the dude. And I have in the past, and I apologize. But I really want to make sure that I'm highlighting guys, that I'm critiquing guys in a way that isn't putting them down. But not every receiver, quarterback, DN is great. There's just some regular dudes on the team, and ain't nothing wrong with that. Every team has them. You can't have all-stars with a salary cap and 53 guys.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But so man, I don't think I'm not gonna go there, but I do think that the game has changed in a good way. And because it's changed in a good way, you're always gonna have some guys, as we say, that are stealing. You're always gonna have some guys that are benefiting from the schools they went to, are getting opportunities that other guys don't get because of maybe stature, school, speed, height, weight, and then the stupidity of sometimes men trying to say, I can coach him, that coach doesn't know what he's doing, so I can coach him here. So you're going to get a lot of that, but that's the uniqueness of having 32 teams in 31 cities with 31 unique perspectives on this game, good and bad.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, man, I agree. Dave, you want to take it back to Super Bowl year?
Yeah, man, we got to talk about that year because that season was kind of crazy when Rodney Peete came in as starter. Then he had a rough first half. Jake Delhomme walks in. So talk to me about that year. Talk to me about that season.
Man,
Like, what was the moment that you knew that we had a shot? You had a shot to get
I think as the season went on, that was when guys gained their confidence. Right, you could put us to the only two seasons we went to the Super Bowl. Even when the Carolina Panthers, when they went 15-1 that year, just like we were the Cardiac Cats, I think we were 10-6. Those two teams, there was always a game or two that you're like, what is this team doing? Right?
Yeah.
Whether it was a win or loss, it was always some things you're going, man, we could have did that a lot more easier than what we did. Right. And so like the Dallas game, how we went out in Dallas and just got killed. But then we played them again and beat them. And we needed that. We that actually helped us for that playoff game because we had our legs between our tails against that particular team because of how bad they beat us. How we couldn't move the ball. We were underperforming, but then we were outplayed, out physical. We made a lot of mistakes. So it was a lot of different things. And then so now you go into that 15-1 season. There were times, even though they went 15-1, there were times where it's like, is this for real? Are the Carolina Panthers going to be considered one of the best teams in the NFL? When is, especially us here in Carolina, man, when we gonna do something stupid to trick this off, right? And so I think those are the things. We're still a young franchise that people are the Carolina Panther fan base, especially at that time, because a lot of people from Pittsburgh, a lot of people from Florida. Mm-hmm. It's a transient city, and we have a lot of people. And now 2022, we have, second and third generation Panther fans who now are becoming diehard fans versus the local team fan. I live here, so I guess I come to the game. I ain't got nothing else to do. But now it is the place to be when we're winning or at least giving up a fight, right? So, I think so does that answer your question about what it was?
But now I'm going to add, yes, sir. But now I'm going to add another question. And Rashad's going to hate me for this. We know what you're going to answer to this question. 2003 Panthers team versus 2015 Panthers team. The two Super Bowl teams.
I don't know. What do you mean? What do I have? They both lost.
No, I mean, if they played each other, who do you think? Which team do you think is the best?
That's a fantastic question. Well, I mean, because we both lost, so it'd be bad to say, well, we were the better team because we both have the same result. I would say there were things I can't say who would win because you had the tackling machine of Dan Morgan and the tackling machine of Luke Kuechly.
Yeah.
But the receiver core of 2015 wasn't better than the 2003 receivers, right? But Greg Olsen was the tight end. He was better than, Chris Mangum. So there are some areas that I think we would win and lose, but I think it'll be a tough game because you can't sit here and say that. I'm not going to say that Stephen Davis wasn't a strong runner, but I kind of see Stephen Davis and Jonathan Stewart kind of being the same type of player, man. They going to drag their opponent. They going to fall forward, right? We didn't have double trouble, right? We didn't have
we had Deshaun Foster though.
Yes, but I'm just saying I think 2015 D'Angelo wasn't on the team, so
no, he was gone. Yep.
Nope.
Fozzie Whitaker is not a better running back than Deshaun Foster.
No.
But Fozzie did his role and he fit that team. So it's really hard. It would be like the old school, when they used to show the thing where they say, who has the edge. I think we would have the edges in some areas and they would have the edges. Yeah. Hell, Cam Newton is going out athletic right? Out athletic. Jake Delhomme. But I think we also have some better corners.
Yeah.
Consistently than 2015. And I'm going to just be 100. We didn't have no corners that can cover me on the team in 2003, and they damn sure didn't have nobody in 2015 that can cover me. And I don't care what Josh say, right? I'm just being 100.
Oh man,
right? So but that's what I'm saying. Like,
and then you talk about the front four, man. Y'all, the front four for 03.
They didn't have no pep.
Nah,
there was no Julius Peppers on that team. And Chuck was great, but who did Chuck learn from?
Yeah.
Right? And I think it's a coin flip with my man TD 58 and the other 58 Mark Fields. Yeah. Like, you can't go wrong with either one of those linebackers. Yeah. They both wearing 58, so I'll take 58. How about that? Right. So I mean, it's the nostalgia of what you're asking me. There's some funny bits, but then there's also, it's like, who would you take? Would you take Luke over Dan? They both beasts. Why do I gotta choose one of them? Can I have both, please?
Good segue. If you could take a player from the 2015 team that could take out the Patriots that year, who would you take? Add to the 03 team.
Man, you can't do that because the football, the game
change
03 and 15 is different.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Yeah. Like, how about, can I take Cam's arm and legs and put that on Jake? Because Jake couldn't outrun himself. Right? Jake was not very mobile. So you add Cam Newton's legs on the Jake with that Cajun accent, man. That would have been bananas a little bit.
Yeah, we've never had anybody try to Maddenize a player on it. Every time we've asked somebody that from 03, they typically I think Deshaun picked Luke to add to the squad. I think that's what he said. But
that's because we had bro, the way Ricky Manning played in the slot, bro.
Yeah.
Right.
We had him on the show too.
Right. Oh.
Yeah.
Right. The way
James
Chris
Trash.
Gamble. What'd you say?
James Trash is what he called him.
He called James James Trash, man. It was funny.
I like James though. I like James because I grew up, watching James, special teams guy. So but man, Chris Gamble didn't say a lot. Can you imagine Chris Gamble playing corner in 2015? Man, Chris Gamble, a lot of people don't give credit to Chris Gamble. Chris Gamble was a baller, bro.
He was.
He played great football, right? Reggie Howard, T. Cuz.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, man.
There's some guys, man, that you could take a Mike Wall, put him on that offensive line. Jordan Gross with some of the other players that we had.
Yeah.
So that's just I'm in total football mode right now. So I'm like, man, why can't I eat my dessert first, mama? I want my cake too, bro.
Right. That's funny. So that segues to another question. What do you think was the best Panthers roster ever assembled? I mean, you got to be on it.
I mean, there's, obviously, I think that we haven't had a slot receiver since Ricky Prohl that's able to teach, that's able to impact. I think we tried to do it with Kotry, right? He was smart, he was savvy, but he wasn't, because I think some of the teams that he played on, he wasn't as impactful that I think we had hoped, but he could still play. But Ricky Prohl, because the reason I say that is because Ricky Prohl was a slot receiver, and he taught me a lot when I was playing. And then he became a coach, and man, I relied on him so much. The way we watched film, the way we argued, it was really unique. There were times, and we could segue into this with Robbie thing if you want. I'm good with it. I remember me and Ricky was getting at each other on the sideline. And he had yelled at me. I said, yo, hey man, I respect you too much, so I'm gonna walk away, and I'm not gonna talk to you. And so I ignored him. I walked away. He said, good, because I don't feel like talking to you either right now. We walked away, but we had so much respect for each other that we had so much respect, I didn't want to say anything that I would regret. And to this day, I still talk to Ricky Pro. We still text each other. His son, I think, is still with Minnesota Vikings, Blake. His other son is rotating Austin. Right? Seeing those guys, his kids. My son was playing basketball. We had a basketball tournament in Greensboro. Mm-hmm. And we stayed at Ricky and Kelly's Pro's place while he was out of town, while we went back and forth to the basketball game for the weekend. Like that 2003 team and some of the other players are so tightly knit, and we still talk. When I was playing with the Baltimore Ravens, we played the New Orleans Saints. Chris Mangum drove from Mississippi. I gave him tickets and he came to the game.
Nice.
Wow. We had lunch, right? Just that's how
that's dope.
Intertwined we still are to this day, man. And it's not like a front. My big bro Moose, we play golf, we talk. His son is playing for Texas A&M. I'm watching Texas A&M, and I only watch Utah, really. And I'm like, yo, where Mookie at?
Put him in the game.
Where Lil Moose playing? I ain't want to watch these bums. I want to see a Mohammed play.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. That's how tightly knit we are. Stephen Davis, man, talking to him, he'll send me his agent. I'm still friends with he's still his former agent. Well, I'll see him at the games, and we'll take a picture and send it to Steven. Steven will reply back with a picture of him and his wife. Man, it's just, we all just talk to each other. Me and Mike Rucker, when we see each other, our kids used to go to the same school. We see each other. We have this game where, like, we used to, when all his kids were at the same school with all my kids, we used to carry Nerf guns, and we'll roll up and see if we can catch each other slipping and shoot each other with a Nerf gun in the cars, like at red lights, roll up, bah, bah, right? Bro, that's how much we have connected and stayed in touch, that the reindeer games are always on.
Right. That's dope. That's dope. So you mentioned like going to Baltimore. All right. And I'm gonna be honest, nothing hurt me more than seeing you go to Baltimore in another uniform. All right.
Yeah.
And I understand it now. Back then I didn't understand the business like I do, as a fan, right?
Yeah, man.
Fair enough.
That was a tough one for me, man.
Yeah, so it like the perception was at the time, David Gettleman and Rivera, coach, they didn't really honor you in the way that they should in the release, and there was a lot of people trying to put you and Cam against each other. And I know you all were in two different places in your life at the time. I get
think
that.
So. We are. And man, what really happened in Carolina regarding what happened is, me and Dave Gettleman did not see eye to eye, and I actually found out it was above Coach Rivera. I knew I was going to get released. I had asked for a trade earlier that year. Like, most interesting job is who I am. I am a very inquisitive, at that time, young man, inquisitive man. I have always wanted to know, is this the best the NFL has to offer? I have always been that way. And so when it was my time to go, Dave didn't like me because I did not fit what he was trying to do. I'm a policy bender. You tell me go right, especially when I was young, Man, I'm going left, dog.
I'm the same way.
But that also is detrimental to your employment. And so it caused this thing. And so he had in his mind, look, you're on your last strike. Man, I used that strike. I didn't realize early in the year. And so when he got rid of me, The only thing that I didn't like was I was considered the angry black man. So them boys was a little bit scared. So they didn't want to shoot me straight. So that's where it became a little bit wonky. And that's why some things happened the way it did. But man, every man deals with confronting things differently. You know, I'm some people avoid, man, I run to that action. And that can be sometimes problematic. And I was a problem. And I was willing to risk whatever it took to get what I needed and to move on. And so it happened. But you know what? I'm glad it happened because here's what I do think happened. I ruffled a lot of feathers, man. I'll say this, man, keep pounding. Panther Nation, man, I was a young kid that felt like the world revolved around him. And I was a hothead. And I said and did and talked to people in ways that I regret that I would whoop my kids for today, my grown kids for today. And the way I grew up, and I always say the way I grew up because I want to keep that as a reference. The one thing that I do know as a culture for me that I experienced, man, the disease of how we respond when we feel disrespected, I feel like as a Black community is a cancer.
1,000%.
And we screw a lot of things up. And at times, I was that disease and a lot of other people like Ricky Pro, Mike Rucker, Musa Muhammad, man, they were the vaccine, bro.
That's dope.
And they tried to help me, and sometimes I listened, sometimes I didn't. Man, one of my good friends, John Casey, taught me about finance, built my palate on financial literacy. Love that, man. And I learned so much, but I was still a knucklehead and I was still stubborn and didn't listen. And so for me, I always wanted to leave, but also the way I acted, and we were such a young franchise, and Charlotte wasn't ready for Steve Smith. Charlotte was like, man, this cocky little mighty mouth, loud mouth, blase, man. I rub people the wrong way, man. Just show to play football, right?
Yeah.
And oh man, act like you've been there. But I'll tell you this: if I acted like I've been there, y'all wouldn't have these old throwback highlights of me acting like a fool that people are like, nope. Man. The one thing I know, when I left Baltimore, when I left Carolina, there were half that was sad, half was like good riddance. And now people give they kidney to have a player like me with passion.
Facts.
Because they realized the way I played, what it meant to me, and they saw that it was serious. And then it was like, dang. We starting to notice, you know, he was good for the team. And I noticed that. And so that's why I'm back and I'm in a way of supporting versus pooping on people, right? Yeah. Now, I in the past when I was doing it, I would say, man, this kid can't play. And I was looking at it from more of just like, trying to do the TV thing and trying to, say things that you feel, man, when you get in front of that camera, sometimes there's sometimes, man, I look at some of the stuff I said, it was like, damn, what was I thinking? Like, bro, that red light, let me tell you something. You want to know how that red light affect people? Look how folk act when they get on a Jumbotron.
Yeah.
And they get on that Jumbotron.
Stop, wow.
They drop their beer, they hot dog, and they do some stuff. You be like, oh?
Yeah.
They, they get crazy and they get on that jumbotron. Man, that don't change for former players in television. Man, that red light come on, all of a sudden you start getting in rhythm, you start doing stuff. And I've seen some guys do some stuff. I say, what in the world? So I mean, that's
I mean, that's I mean, you hit a lot of things in that, and I think I want to kind of dive into, and you hit a great point. You don't know what you got until it's gone. I think a lot of people realize that once you were out of here. But I want to talk. Go ahead, Dave.
I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like when the Panthers made the decision to release you, I don't think I've ever been so disappointed because I felt like you should have been a guy that played there for your entire career.
Well, if Marty was there, I would have been there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But here's the thing. But I would have never got a chance to move. You don't know how many times, man, I sat in Marty's office and that man talked me off the ledge, right? You don't know how many times when I came home, my wife was mad at me. I was like, I asked for a trade. She's like, you asked for a trade? Like, were you going to consult me?
Right.
What about our kids? I'm like, and that's what I mean, self-absorbed, like thinking about me, right? So, but Dave Gettleman was a blessing, man, because I also started TV and I started doing that stuff. Taylor Zarza, one of the good friends who helped get me into business when I was interning at WFNZ. Man, there were so many things that came out of that when I was playing, man, and at the end of my career, I started to brace for impact. But what God was really doing was molding me to enjoy the journey.
Right.
And I didn't realize I was enjoying it, or I was kind of hot and cold with the journey, but I was still on that journey. And when I went to Baltimore, here's what I would say. What I learned about Baltimore, what I love about Baltimore, is why I'm so passionate about the Carolina Panthers. Is because Baltimore, like I can go, if I get on the airplane and go to Baltimore right now during their practice, I'll go up there. Miss Valerie is there. There's a ton of people that are there. They will let me in the building. I'll watch practice, dap me up. And because it's a surprise, Coach Harbaugh will say, hey, speak to the team. I can go to Baltimore, whether you've been there for 5 minutes, 3 years, or 16 years. They say once a Raven, always a Raven. Mm-hmm. And the way the city and the way the team did things, that's why I've come back and been exactly the same way with the organization, making sure I'm involved, making sure I'm around, making sure I be seen, supporting, even when I disagreeing in a constructive, respectful way. And the other part is Mr. Tepper, who was, minority owner with Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. He's trying to change the culture and do some things that, he's learning as he goes too. But he wants that same the history of winning and great culture and all that stuff. And it's not great right now, but he's trying, right? Everything is a process. And
be careful with words like process. Be careful with words like process. We've already had somebody that said process.
Man, I'm just saying this. Well, what do you under construction? How about that? It's under construction. Listen, absolutely. Before you start complaining about the Carolina Panthers, let's get some of these darn roads fixed in Charlotte first, right? That's true. I mean, we doing more construction around Charlotte, and every day is a road blocked off. So our city is growing and our team is growing. Yeah. The difference is you get to see what the issues are out in front. Every business got some stuff going on.
Yeah, that's true. So Tepper bought the team, and listen, the fans are not necessarily happy with Tepper right now. Yeah, they're not. I mean, he's done, and to his credit, he's done a lot of good things. Right, he brought you back. I think he did the Ring of Honor thing. That's huge. And he's got the soccer team. So it's a lot of good things that he's done. And apparently he brought music to because we didn't have music before Tepper got here. So apparently he brought music to Charlotte too.
No, bro, we here's the thing, bro. I remember talking to Big Cat and some people. They used to be people that email. I don't like that rap crap. I don't like the warm-up music. So, man, I'm gonna just tell you, there's some folks, not all, there's some folk, man, they get on social media, they get email courage. And they just they say some things on email that organization receives, and some players that I've seen, I'm going, that borderline right there, that's a pull up to your house kind of email. They some of them have been nasty.
The 150 crew is what I call them. The F-150 crew.
F-150, yeah.
F-150 crew.
So we talk about Tepper, right? And one thing you said during your Hall of Honor speech was that the next step is to make sure that nobody else wears 89.
Oh, yeah,
now, nobody has officially worn it since you. So what has Tepper told you about the official retirement of 89?
Man, Tepper will voice me on that like we on our third date and I'm trying to give him a kiss, man. Man, he don't want to stand next to me. Hey, we have Ruth Chris, girl. We have Ruth Chris. You better hold my hand. This is the third date. We need to know what's going on. And nope. He's sitting on the other side of the table, so he's pretty funny with it.
Man, that's tough. That's tough. I mean, what would that mean to you though?
Man, it would mean a lot, to be honest. It would mean a lot. It would mean I would love it. But at the same time, I know it's ultimately it's up to him, but ultimately it doesn't define who I am here, what I am. But it's I don't know, it's one of those where man, I think it's more of a beg than it needs to happen. Right?
Yeah, I got you.
Because I think it's also too.
Nobody's
what'd you say?
Nobody's worn it.
I know. I hope not.
Because the moment it happens,
they getting flamed.
This podcast is
first of all,
initially.
I'm not okay with it. So because here's the thing. When Cotry got here, he wanted to wear it. And I was with Baltimore, and they said, "Hey man, are you okay?" I said, if you call, no. Man, Cotry, man, he respects you. I said, that cool. I ain't okay in it. And I'm gonna tell you right now, you let anybody wear that jersey. And it wasn't just Cotry, and I don't believe my response was, oh, Cotry can't play. It was, nah, bro. Y'all just released me. You released me a year and a half ago. Now you trying to put somebody in my number? Now it ain't my number, but because I'm not on the team, but you trying to put somebody in my number?
Nah, it's your number.
Hey, but here's what I told him. I said, I'm not okay in it, but go ahead and do it then. Look, all right. Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Hey, if you look on my social media right now, you see my hometown. My hometown on all my social media right now is, I wish somebody would.
Right. Oh man, that's funny. Yo, that's funny. All right. So real quick, because I know I want to respect your time. Real quick, how do we fix the current version of the Carolina Panthers?
It's under construction. Steve Wilkes, whoever it is, man, they got a lot to process and figure out. We got to figure out what kind of offense are we going to run, what kind of quarterback are we going to run. We got to see how Matt Corral is doing. I think Matt Corral can play. We got just, at times with these quarterbacks, you got to figure out their processing, how they process, what their strengths and weaknesses. You got to establish the run. Do we want to be under pistol formation under center? There's a lot of different things. We got to figure out the rotation of guard play. Another, weird. Icky is doing okay. He's going to improve. You can see he's going to improve. He's a great pick. Derek Brown, look at him, how he's blossoming, how he's penetrating, playing. But then there was other things like we're running a hybrid 3-4. So we were having Derek Brown not play the traditional gap player that he is. We had him, and I call him the dump truck. We had him going lateral. We drafted him at that position because of how he penetrated, but not how he moved. And he's getting back to playing like that, and you see he's back to his quick step. He's back to his violent hands going forward. You got my boy DJ Moore. I got to get Shy back. He's playing, but you could tell he's a little bit hesitant. His confidence, but his confidence based on how the team is going. He's had some good games and he has some okay games.
Yeah,
he has some games that I know if he was on here with me, he would say, man, I love to get back or redo. Second, the defense is doing well, but you can't expect them to hold up 40 minutes a game. Nobody can.
Right.
It's just this team has some good areas, but it then has some areas where we need some improvement, right? You could see it now when our two top corners aren't in the game that, we don't have depth, right? We don't have – there's a drop-off. And nothing wrong with Taylor, nothing wrong with Hartsfield, but they're not Joe Horn. J.C. Horn. They're not Dante Jackson, and we can see that they're okay, but they're not the guys that can go play for play with Deebo Samuels, right? If J.C. Horn and Action Jackson are not playing, I don't want them going man-to-man. I don't want Taylor being man-to-man coverage with Mike Evans, right? That's a tough task, right? He needs some – can he do it with some help over the top? But he can't play him for 70 plays man-to-man, up in his face, locked in. Man, that's J.C. Horn game. That's J.C. Horn, man, that's like a shake for him. That's every day, right? We don't have that, so having some depth. Right. So I think, that those are some of the things that when I look at the Carolina Panthers that we need to do. But we also, we can't give games away and we can't have our defense on the field for a long time. And so we're working, we're a team under construction. And we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So if not Steve Wilks, and we had the opportunity to hire another head coach, who would you look at?
I don't know.
You don't want to get in?
No, I don't know because
okay, gotcha.
You know why football is real iffy right now offensively? Because we got a lot of the same people from the same tree.
Yeah. I listened to you say that yesterday on Cut 2.
Like Sean McVay, quarterback coach, Zach Taylor. All these offenses literally are darn near from the same offensive tree. The Mike Shanahan senior, Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan, Gary Kubiak. So Gary Kubiak was the backup quarterback, John Elway. He was offense coordinator all those years with Mike Shanahan. Then he goes to Houston. Kyle Shanahan was wide receivers coach, offense coordinator. Then he goes to Cleveland. And then you got Gary Kubiak, Clint's son. And then you got Nathaniel Hackett. And then Nathaniel Hackett, Matt LaFleur, then I think his brother, I don't know what his brother name LaFleur is, and with the Jets, right? All of these are the same. Sean McVay, all of these offenses are the same offense. But then you have Scott Turner, where his dad Norv, that offense, and that's the same offense Jason Garrett runs. So, but you got Andy Reid and his offense. And so there's literally right now, when I was playing, there was like two teams running Coob's offense. Half or 75% of the league right now is run offense, and you have the athleticism of the defensive players. The defensive coaches have figured out this offense. So we need to find a new offense, because all you need to do is have a balanced cover 3 or run a lot of zone and break up. And that's why San Francisco is peaking and valleying, because there's certain offenses that you can run that stalls this offense. You can't stall them all year, but you can stall them enough that makes them inconsistent. And that's why we're seeing this. We're having bad football consistently.
Gotcha. All right. So this is the final question.
Okay.
We kind of like to ask, what you're doing outside of football, outside of what you're going on. I know you have the Steve Smith Family Foundation, right? And I know you guys are in the process of doing the Family Behavioral Health Urgent Care. So what's the status on that, and how can Panther
People
Nation
help?
Podcast family support? Yeah.
All right, so you can go to Steve Smith Family Foundation .org to support that. But man, what we're doing is for the foundation is behavioral health urgent care. It's going to be open 24 hours a day, right? 7 days a week. Self-evaluation from ages 4 and up.
That's dope.
But it's outpatient. So meaning we're helping you transition and be able to have things where you can operate and live and work. Not inpatient, where inpatient is a psychiatric ward. We're outpatient. We're going to have peer-to-peer counseling, right? The most experienced counselors are the counselors that have went through it.
Exactly.
Right. And we started, we're doing that. That's going to be opening this. That's opening first quarter 2023 because we had bought it. It's a $7 million project, and we got $4 million remaining of our threshold. But it's also one of those things where we've found a building in COVID, purchased a building, and then we had to remove 70% of the building to make it medical facility because it was an office building. Mm-hmm. And so, 70% of a building, removing and redoing and rehabbing is big time, right? That takes a lot of work. So that's what we're doing. The city and county has responded pretty good, but we obviously got $4 million left, and that $4 million to be able to allow us to operate debt free.
That's awesome.
Right? And then business wise, man, I do a lot of little things around Charlotte. I have some businesses that I'm not going to get into, but the businesses that I am doing, man, is here created based on some of the things that I experienced as a kid that I know that's a shortfall, and working, doing some things around Charlotte that it wouldn't surprise you if I'm doing it, but doing it with some folks that's pretty good. And so it's fun, and trying to do some stuff where it's also give back to the city, but also leaving a legacy for my kids if they choose to follow in some of my business ventures. If they do not, I just cash in and go quietly go away. But if not, that it's something that could be a family business, but it's really up to them. So it's one of those where, yes, it's making money, but the way I'm making money and the way I'm doing it, it's uniquely geared towards my mental makeup.
Awesome. So that being said, I'm gonna personally donate. I don't got $4 million, but I'm gonna personally donate.
You don't?
I'm gonna personally donate 500, and
I appreciate that.
We also gonna donate the proceeds from our podcast for the month, and we'll donate to Steve Smith. We'll donate directly to the urgent care situation.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate it. When you can go online and do that. And when you do that, when you actually donate to a specific project of ours, legally, according to the 513C guidelines, we can only use those funds for that. And then also to our after school program that we do, and I have to be careful how I work this, but our after school program, we help McKinley-Vento kids that are facing homelessness. We're in Hidden Valley Elementary. We are partnered with Firm Foundation, and we're providing warm hot meals, enrichment programs, and also homework after school. And we're doing some of those things to help kids who don't have a chance, who have a lot of reasons not to go to school. And so that's one of the things that we're doing. So the foundation, I try to make the foundation, our programs deal with some of the things that I or some of my staff have dealt with growing up, whether it's education, lack of food security, lack of tutoring, just all of that stuff, lack of medical, right? So our medical clinic, who serves 6,000 patients, uninsured, right? We're closed right now because we're doing under construction. We are opening up pretty soon our medical clinic back up, and it's going to be a full medical clinic on Central Avenue that only serves the uninsured. So if you got insurance, we can't help you. We only can help the uninsured.
That's fire.
So
that's fire.
Those are the things that we're doing that are important because I was uninsured.
Yeah. And that's why we asked that question. So, because we definitely have some folks that can they give us super chats all the time. That's dope. But let's donate to a cause that's going to help somebody. So we always ask that question to everybody that comes on the show, and we try to give a little bit what we can those causes.
That $500 you giving, one, I say that I appreciate and I'm thankful. Thank you so much. But even when I invest my own money, I look at it where, man, I'll take $5 to invest, because my philosophy is pennies equal up to nickels, nickels equals up to dimes, dimes equal up to quarters. And if you give enough quarters, what you got? Some dollars.
Yep.
So that's nothing. Hey, I'll take anything, bro. I walk around all the time. I collect change. If I see a penny or a dime on the floor, I'll be like, thank you.
I do the exact same thing.
But here's a question. What do you do with that change? Do you save it?
I hold on to it. I don't spend it.
I pile it up. Like I have like a cup that I put it in.
I get that from a jar.
Hey.
My father, I'll never forget this quick story. My father, when I told him, hey, I need a laptop, you know what he did? He said, he had this big ass water jug of pennies.
Oh yeah, we had that too.
Take this jug, roll these up, should be enough for your laptop. And it was.
Hey man, I'll tell you a quick story. I used to we was broke, but we had that big old jug. Man, I used to take a kite, the middle part of the kite, and I put tape on there and I put it down a jug to get the big core change out of there.
Oh man, that's funny.
Put the tape on there to get the quarters, the nickels. I got a jug in my closet. Every time I get undressed and I have change in my pocket, I put it in there. And about every 6 to 7 months, man, I collect change so much, bro. Every 6 or 7 months, I get about $600 worth of change.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, I take mine and give it to my kids. So same thing.
My money. I pick these quarters up.
All right, Steve. Hey, listen, man. I just want, this is awesome. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity for us, man. We greatly appreciate you coming on the show, and I just want to tell you face to face that you are inspiration to a lot of people. I grew up watching you. The tenacity that you play with, the story behind how you play, and never taking no for an answer. That's how I live my life, and I got that from you. So I just want to show my appreciation, say thank you, and man, this is awesome. This is awesome, man.
So here's what I would do, man. We got it like in off season, man. Maybe it's a draft preview or something, and just do a Panther podcast. We collaborate, do a Panther podcast, and we can just kind of chop it up about the draft picks just for the Panthers, right? Just local. Just talk about the Panthers. Why? What? You ask me. I ask you, we kind of chop it up, kind of really like talk and debate and conversate, disagree. And I give you a look that was a stupid question. And you give me a look that was a stupid answer. Right. And maybe, man, and try to do that because I know there's a lot of good podcasts out there. I know there's a lot of podcasts out there that are trying to be clickbait.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of podcasts out there, they're just trying to figure it out. And man, and so I'm not gonna collaborate with a lot of people just because at the end of the day, man, some folks don't know how to shine together. Not everybody loves everybody's success. Yeah. And some people I just can't collaborate with them just because how their podcast is and how it represents. And, you know, I can't be on here cussing and dog cussing and all that stuff, man. It's a bad look as a father for me. I made a donkey out of myself for 16 years on the football field. You know, I need to show my kids that I'm more than just a loud mouth, show the fans. And so I would love to get an off-season man to help you guys, to help me keep the content rolling. You guys do a heck of a job. You guys, man, y'all the vinegar of the podcast, because the vinegar and water separates itself, bro.
Right.
And it is apparent that you guys have passion, but also want good Panther conversation and dialogue. And that's what the long haul is always. That's what makes you guys sustainable, because you guys got substance.
We appreciate that, Steve. That means that you have no idea how much that means. We appreciate that.
But that also means you got to bring your notes and P's and Q's. That, hey,
facts,
Dave. You can't be all up in your towel in the locker room, jaw jacking around, Playboy. You got to come to work.
I agree. And this is why I shouldn't have listened to Rashad.
So look, let me show you. I didn't know what y'all gonna ask me, but look at my notes right here for that's Arizona, dope. Right?
Oh
I take all. Oh, there we go.
I should have rolled with this.
Yeah,
but my partner said, you know, if you gonna
I did tell him the things.
Yeah, as my son, you know, as my son Peyton would say, man, you was hoping the glizzy would walk past, huh?
Dr. Glizzy. Oh man, yo, too funny. All right, Steve, man, we gonna let you go again. We appreciate you. Okay. Huge shout out to Underdog Fantasy, because we also partner with them as well. So shout out to Underdog, everybody Underdog. We greatly appreciate that. And that's it, man.
We gotta link up again. Appreciate it. Make sure we get your contact, man. Appreciate it.
Okay, just go. All right.
Keep pounding.
Have a good one, man.
All right, keep pounding.
Guys.